Hello, my friends, and welcome back. It's time for another chapter. This is chapter 13, Picking Up Silver. A cool car raced through the city streets. Brrr, said the car as it went down the big street with lots of other cars on it. The city was filled of buildings and lights and other things, like places like McDonald's. Comma, shouted the car. It's just a comma. Just shouted the car as it went back and forth between other cars, so it did not have to wait in traffic. The car was playing techno and rock and roll music. Techno is short for technology. Reek! Yelled the car, doing a big turn in the city into section. Location update on the Ultra Chaos Emerald, said the driver of the car. The car's screen blinked to different things, and then in a robot voice said, Beep beep, Ultra Chaos Emerald, getting closer. Shadow looked at the map screen and drove faster towards the red dot. That was where the last Ultra Chaos Emerald was. Beep 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 beep, said the car in a robot voice, as Shadow got closer to the dot while driving his car. It was just around the corner now. Shadow did another fast turn at this intersection, and right to where the red dot was on the map. Beep, 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 screamed the car in a robot voice, as his car dot and the Ultra Chaos Emerald dot on the map moved into each other, and the real world. Shadow pulled up to the curve, and there was a couple of gang men. Thanks, Omega, said Shadow as he hopped out of the car, which was black and red, and on the dark city street. He pointed at the... Oh no, I'm not doing that. That's getting a little racist there, buddy. Standing there, and they looked dangerous, but Shadow knew they had the Ultra Chaos Emerald. Shadow took out a gun and pointed it at them. Give me the last Ultra Chaos Emerald. They looked surprised and startled. They checked their pockets, and while they were doing that, the gun became used, and Shadow shot all three of them. They were now dead. Shadow reached into the middle one's pocket and found out what he had come for. The last Ultra Chaos Emerald. They were like the regular Chaos Emeralds, but more powerful, and a secret until they were found out. Shadow hopped back into his car, Omega the robot car, and said, I got it. Now I can get one wish to come true. I'm going to think about what I will use it on before I use it. Shadow looked at the map and said, give me directions to Hamburger Restaurant. Omega changed some screens and said in a robot voice, Beep bop bop, Hamburger Restaurant location found. It is over here. And Shadow looked at where the dot was, and it was right nearby. So Shadow drove there with more loud sounds. Shadow went to the drive-thru and got a hamburger and fries and sat in the parking lot in Omega and ate it. This is great. I love this place. It's always a place that I love to come to after I finish a crime. He has a ritual, said Shadow darkly. Omega did not need food because he was a robot shaped into a car. Shadow finished eating and threw the garbage into Omega's trash hole, where he turned litter into gasoline, which was useful. Then Shadow took his penis out. Oh no! Hey Omega, check this out, said Shadow, laughing as he took his big, neat, hard penis and stuck it in Omega's trash hole. Unrecognized item in trash hole error, said Omega. That's my penis, man. Said Shadow to Omega. Penis, not trash, not allowed in trash hole, said Omega to Shadow. Shadow couldn't fit all of his big, strong penis into Omega's trash hole anyway, so he took it out and gave Omega a taste of his balls too. Omega did not recognize Shadow's balls as trash either, which was good, and then Shadow put his balls back and started to drive off with his hand still on his penis. Why? Where is Silver's house? Said Shadow to Omega while he rubbed really quick and hard on his penis with one hand while the other was driving. Omega updated his map and showed where Silver's house was on the other side of the dark city. Shadow kept empowering his penis with one hand and drove faster and more dangerously. Soon his penis was so big that he could hardly see in front of him anymore, and he was zigzagging across the street, trying to keep both his penis and his car in control. Was it like inflating? What the fuck is going on? Then he put both hands on his penis and made it do all sorts of things until it was done, and his penis redecorated the inside of Omega with white curtains. Just so you know, that's my semen. Okay, said Shadow to Omega. Omega knew that already. Shadow put both of his hands back on the steering wheel and drove faster, but suddenly some loud sounds and flashing lights came up behind him. Walk, walk, walk! The police is following you, said Omega. Shadow decided to follow the laws and stopped his car in the street and waited for the police to come over to him. Shadow's penis was still big, though, so he tucked it under his leg, on the right, and it stuck up in the middle of Omega the car, and Shadow put his hand on it. The police came over to the front window of Omega and looked at Shadow inside. Cool vehicle, said the police. Thanks, said Shadow to the police, back. Do you know that you were breaking a law by going that fast, back and forth on the street? Said the police to Shadow, sounding more like Miss Lesson than a real person. What? Yeah, I do, said Shadow, and patted his hand on his penis in the middle of the front of the car. Sir, take your hand off the gear stick in the middle of the car right now, said the police to Shadow. Shadow looked at the police and laughed and said, It's not a gear stick, that's my penis, and then drove off before the police could say anything or even react at all. You have broken another law, said Omega to Shadow. Shadow laughed because he could see the police far behind him, giving up and going to look for an easier criminal. Now, said Shadow, let's go to Silver's house. Shadow drove the car fast to Silver's house on the other side of the city, and when he got there, he braked the car so hard that the sound it made was like hearing the world's largest bird get punched in the tummy. What? Shadow honked the horn, and when he finished honking the horn, Silver jumped out of the window and onto the street and into the side seat of Omega. Hey, Shadow, thanks for the ride, said Silver. Cool curtains you put up. Shadow laughed and said, No problem. If I do not hurry up by driving fast, you will be late for the play. Silver said, Do not worry. We'll get there in time. Silver was another big role in the play, but he was not a huge gay like Charmy B. Silver was kind of like Sonic, but less fast. Sonic also had the best morals, but maybe Silver dressed better. But that was kind of gay too. What the fuck? Silver did have this big hair thing on the front that looked like a marijuana. Oh, M-A-R-O-W-A-N-N-A. Marijuana. So maybe Sonic was better at being stylish anyway. It was hard to tell because Silver lived in the city, which was kind of far away from high school. Shadow stepped on the gases, and the car went away through the city into the moonlight and towards the city to high school. You know what? Let's just keep going to the next chapter. Let's just do it. Chapter 14, The Play. Sonic and Amy got to high school and went to the play, which was at the school. When they got to the auditorium, they were not expecting to be surprised, but they were, because the auditorium was actually full of men and women idiots wanting to see the play. Cool young people, such as high school students, did not come to see the play, unless they had to. The place was so full that Sonic and Amy had to just sit in bad seats surrounded by strangers that could have been dirty, or usually did crime. Sonic looked around the place and saw Rouge and Knuckles Jr., who was a baby, sitting really by the door out, and Tails and Cream all the way on the other side, which is where they probably would have sat anyway, because Tails hated Sonic to the sky. Sonic also saw Shadow standing around places, but he did not get in a seat because he was too bad for that. We are at the play now, said Amy to Sonic, even though she was surrounded by people who were neither of them. What? I wonder when it'll begin. It's gonna start soon, said Sonic back to Amy. What I am wondering is not that, but if Charmy is going to mess up big time because he's been acting weird all week. I bet you he will. Sonic laughed about this because it did not really matter to him, but it did to Charmy. The play they were doing was The Christmas Story, even though it was not Christmas time, but they thought it was a good idea to do it anyway. In the play, Silver played Joseph, who was Jesus' dad. Charmy played Mary, because even though he's not a girl, everyone thought he was anyway. Okay. baby version Jesus, like he's a collector's card, was going to be played by Knuckles, who was fitted to the role now that he was a baby. Sonic and Amy sat patiently in the seats they were in, even though Sonic could have been out running around. Sonic waited by rubbing Amy's leg and seeing how close he could get his hand to her vagina before she rubbed him off. Oh boy. Sonic determined that Amy was prime and ready for sex because her vagina felt hard and loose, as far as he could tell. What does that mean? When he would get close to it with his hand before the play began, he almost forgot totally that he had a deadly ball disease. The play eventually started, and it was just as gay as you thought it would be. There was singing and songs, but otherwise it was just like the Christmas story always was. Mary got a letter from an angel saying she's going to have a baby, but she did not want to have the baby at home, because the king would not let babies vote, so Mary and Joseph rode bikes all the way from London to Jerusalem. When they got there, the hospital was full, so they went to a barn and had the baby in there, and it turned out to be the legendary hero Jesus. Okay, this has got to be a troll fic. At first, I could give certain things, but come on. Throughout the whole play, Silver did a really good job, and Charmy did an okay job, but everyone sure believed that he was a woman because his voice was so high, and girls. Cool. They got to the ending where Mary was to have her baby out. Mary flipped onto her front, and Joseph pulled Jesus out of her butt, which looked totally fake. Sonic could tell, even with special affix. Joseph held Jesus up to show God and then gave him to Mary, who was actually Charmy. Charmy looked at Jesus, Knuckles, really close and then reached into his clothing with the hand that was not holding him and pulled out a knife. "Time to get murdered," said Charmy as he started to kill Knuckles. Just as he began to do this, Silver bodily flew into them and knocked Knuckles up and away from Charmy. "Oh my god, what is happening?" said Amy, who startled hard. "Charmy's trying to kill Knuckles, obviously," said Sonic to Amy. It was true, and people started to being yelling and screaming. Just then, a gunshot came from the back of the audience. Shadow pulled out his gun from his spot and aimed it at Charmy B from the back of the audience. Shadow fired his gun, and the bullet hit his head, but he must have been wearing a gun-proof helmet, because the bullet from the gun went off his head and into the ceiling where it hit a light, and the light fell down, along with other things. Something from the ceiling fell into the back of the stage, where the props were, and one of the props was a bomb that they used for some things. It actually says used for some things. The prop was a real bomb, though, and when it hit, the bomb exploded. The bomb exploded with a huge explosion, like a bunch of horses made of fire running through the place. Cool. Suddenly, people did not really care about the play anymore because it was a place full of fire and could kill you. Rouge and Knuckles Jr. already got out quick because they were near the door. Sonic looked and saw Amy next to him, almost unconscious because of all the fire and smoke and shocking things. Sonic picked her up and ran out of the auditorium with his fast speed. Sonic found Rouge and Knuckles Jr. outside in the hallway where it was safe. "Are you okay?" said Rouge. "Knuckles Jr. predicted that this would happen, so we sat by the door just so we could get out easy." "Yeah, we are okay," said Sonic. "Amy here is going into a shock attack." It's super effective. "But it is nothing, she will not get over." Sonic looked around and saw people running out, but there was a lot of other people stuck in the auditorium, and some of them were fainted. People were leaving and not helping the other people out. But the lunch lady, who had ears but was deaf, was running into the auditorium, carrying women and children back out. The lunch lady lived in Mongolia by herself as a child and became very strong from carrying trees back from the frozen forest to the village that she traveled between, so now she could carry stacks of people. That's a lot of things. Since she was deaf, all of the noises and the fire was making, it did not bother her, because she could not hear it. Sonic saw the lunch lady bring out cream, but Tails was not being brought out, because he was not a woman or a child. Sonic thought, "Damn, he is still my friend." Sonic swallowed his scary feelings and ran into the burning auditorium to Tails, who was passed out in the front. Sonic picked Tails up and brought his body out to the hallway and began doing CPR on his body. That is a whole sentence. Sonic thought, this will look gay, but it did not matter, because Tails was still his friend. Sonic pushed on his body and started kissing him to give him life again. Sonic kept kissing, and Amy and Rouge and Knuckles Jr. watched them as he kissed Tails' face, but Tails was not waking up. Sonic, said Shadow to the side, Charmy has escaped and is running through the school, like a murderer now. Stop CPR kissing Tails. You have to help us catch him. And Silver gave Knuckles to Rouge, and said, he is safe now, but he needs to sleep. Rouge was so happy she could have kissed him, but did not. Sonic looked, and said, Amy, finish doing CPR on Tails. I will let you, and not get jealous. Sonic kissed her mouth and felt one of her boobs, and then ran off with Shadow and Silver to catch the guy who was trying to kill baby Knuckles, that was now running around the school and could danger them all. Well, that's the end of this chapter. I certainly hope you enjoyed this. This story just keeps getting weirder the longer it goes on, doesn't it? Thank you all for watching. If you would please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I have a Ko-Fi and a merch store, and I would greatly appreciate you checking those out. There isn't a live stream at the moment. I actually don't know when it'll be back. My ISP is still kind of being a dick about that. So, if you would check out the merch store and the Ko-Fi, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps keep the lights on here more now than ever. But if you can't do those things, that's okay too. I'm just glad you're here. If you enjoyed this and would like to send in your own stuff, r/Moonhorse Stories. And I have a Discord server if you'd like to come hang out with me and all my friends. So the links to all those things and more are in the description below this and every video. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.